Hey there, Jess here from jewelrytutorialhq.com. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make a cool pair of leather knot earrings. This is a quick and easy project that's great for using up scraps of leather. To make these leather earrings, you'll need about 1 foot of 2mm round leather, 2 4mm fold-over crimps, 6 4mm jump rings, a total of 8 ready-made bead dangles, 2 with large loops at the top, large enough to fit over the 2mm leather with a little bit of room so they can dangle freely, and 6 ready-made dangles with smaller loops at the top. I'm using 4mm beads for all of mine. If you don't know how to make these bead dangles, you can watch my easy bead dangle video to see how to do that. I'll include the link below the video so you can find it easily. You'll also need a pair of ready-made ear wires, a pair of round nose pliers, chain nose pliers and or bent chain nose pliers, and a pair of flush cutters. Now we're ready to knot our leather. This is a relatively easy knot with a really cool look. Start with a piece of leather that is about 5.5 to 6 inches long. Cross the right end of the leather over the other end so you create a loop, then continue to form an overhand knot. Try to keep the knot in the middle and pull it slightly tighter to make it the size you want your finished piece to be. Mine is a little bit bigger than a dime. Flip the knot upside down so you have the cross part of the knot facing towards you now. If you're following along with me, the right end should be over the rest of the knot, so take it around to the back and come up through the center of the knot. The left end should be under the rest of the knot, so bring it around to the top and then go down through the center. And you should have something that looks like this. The ends don't have to be perfectly aligned here, but we do want the bottom of the knot to have a loop right in the middle there so that the dangles will hang straight. So if you need to pull the knot around to make that happen, just kind of move it into place and go ahead and do that now. We're going to add beads to the 3 loops that are formed at the bottom of the knot, so you'll want them to be situated in the center as much as possible. Now we're ready to add the crimp to the ends that are going to be at the top of the earring. I don't know if you've ever tried to crimp round leather with one of these square crimps before, but it's a little tricky, so I'm going to show you a way to make it a whole lot easier. With your round nose pliers, grab one side of the fold-over crimp right on the edge of the metal and roll it in towards the center of the crimp slightly to round the edge. We're not trying to close up the crimp too much. We just want to take off a little bit of that squareness so it will grip the round leather better and be easy to squeeze over the leather. Do the same on the other side of the crimp. When you have both sides of the fold-over crimp a little bit rounded, insert both ends of the leather, position them inside the crimp side by side. Move the crimp up or down the leather until you find a spot that looks about right for where you want the top of the earring to be. Then use the chain nose pliers to start to squash one side of the crimp down over the leather. You don't need to crimp it all the way at this point, just a little bit. Then move over to the other side and squash that side down. You should have one side of the crimp that overlaps the other. Then go back to the first side, continue to squeeze that down the rest of the way. Then you can squeeze the whole crimp flat one final time and make sure you have a really tight grip on both pieces of leather. Use your fine-tipped flush cutters to trim the extra leather. Be careful not to cut the metal of the crimp. Get the cutter blade in between the leather and the crimp and cut as close as you can so you won't have any leather ends sticking up out of the top. Now you want to go ahead and make your second earring, being careful to match the size of the knot as well as the placement of the crimps on the leather. And of course, don't forget to be sure you position the loops at the bottom so that there is one right in the center there. To add the beads, first open up a jump ring. For best results, use 2 pairs of chain nose pliers. Open the ring wide enough to go over the leather. Slide on one of your dangles with the smaller loops, then insert the jump ring into one of the loops at the bottom of the leather knot. Use your pliers to close the jump ring around the leather. Repeat for the other 2 dangles with the smaller loops at the top. To add the dangles at the top part of the earring, use the chain nose pliers to twist open the loop on one of the dangles with the larger loops, wide enough to go over the leather, and insert it into the opening at the top of the leather knot between where the 2 ends come together. Close the loop around the leather by twisting it back into place. Finally, we'll just add the ear wire. Twist open the loop with the chain nose or the bent chain nose pliers. Insert the loop at the top of the fold-over crimp so the front is facing forward, and then close up the loop of the ear wire. Repeat the last few steps for your second earring and you're all done. I would love to hear what you thought of this project. I love working with leather in jewelry making, and I have lots of other ideas for projects to share with you. Let me know if you'd like to see them by leaving a comment or with a thumbs up on this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.